Has your boss, your manager, your client, your team leader treated you as if you do not exist? Or at the professional front, maybe your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend spoke to you in a way that you weren't acknowledged or you felt unloved. I'm talking about your personal relationships. And professional relationships, maybe you felt that you don't matter to the team, you don't matter to the client. Picture this. Your client gives you time. 3 p.m., I'm going to see you tomorrow, he says. And then the next day you're there, 3 p.m. You're there at 2:45, 15 minutes early. And you see this client walking away, getting out of the office, not keeping his word. And all he does is looks at you, waves his hand and says, tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow, and walks away. And maybe you want to voice a concern during a team meeting. And all your manager does is, later. How does this feel? You call, feeling excited to share some news with your spouse, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend. And on the other end, all your partner does is, can we talk later? And you're like, listen, I have to share something. And she's like, can we do this later? I'm in a meeting. Yeah, all right, later. And this has become a repeated pattern. It's not new to you. This is something that you are experiencing on a regular basis. How do you feel when this happens, when your creativity is not acknowledged or rewarded? You're bringing a lot to the table in the office. You are a big contributor, but that doesn't get acknowledged. A lot of us feel this whirlwind of emotions. What do you feel? Think about it. Anger, frustration, irritation, sad. You feel bad, overwhelmed, unacknowledged. The sense of feeling unacknowledged can bring out tremendous amount of anger, maybe anxiety, worthlessness. In this video, I'm going to give you a 6-step framework that's going to help you become an exceptionally powerful communicator. You will communicate like a leader, where you will be acknowledged and you will not be taken for granted anymore. And this is not motivation. I'm going to show you how exactly you can communicate like a leader. What exactly needs to be done to communicate effectively like a leader. And this session is for every professional, from business leaders to frontline staff. So let's begin. So, 6-step framework to become an effective communicator so that you can voice your unvoiced emotions. This is for every professional, from business leaders to frontline staff. Step number 1 of this framework is, now before that, click on the link below, download the worksheet. The worksheet, it's a complimentary worksheet and it's going to help you make better use of this session. I strongly suggest you have the worksheet handy. So step number 1 is, ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I feel when this happens? Whenever such situations occur where you are, unacknowledged, you go to your manager and your manager's like, we'll talk later. You have worked on a presentation for 4-5 hours, super excited, you go meet your boss and your boss is like, I don't have time for this. How do you feel? The first step is you need to become aware of your emotion. That's critical. And what do you do after becoming aware? I'm going to talk about it. But first step is becoming aware of how you feel. Do you feel anger? Label that emotion. Do you feel confused, frustrated, discouraged, ashamed, sad, bad, disappointed? Or do you have these mixed emotions, right? You're confused and you're feeling angry and sad, and you sulk and walk away, or you get angry and walk away from that situation. So what do you feel? Write that down. Think of a situation right now that happened recently, right? A similar situation, and then write that down. How did you feel? Did you feel anger? Did you feel frustrated? Write that down right now, okay? And then after you have written that down, the next step is step 2, manage your state. You see, life, to me, is all about managing your state. If you want to live fully, you should be able to manage your mind and your body, your mental and your physiological state. Because when you have a situation like this, when you feel unheard and you want to voice your emotion, and if you do not take control of your mind and body, you might blurt out things that you're not supposed to. You might say something that you're not supposed to. You might go and fight thinking that this is how things are done. You might say something like, you know what? You have always treated me really bad. I worked on this presentation and you did not even bother to give me 20 minutes of yours. Who do you think you are? I'm quitting. These are my papers, right? So when you bring emotions, you do not communicate like a leader. Be detached. And how do you do that? You take charge of your mind and body. There are different ways to do it. Firstly, you need to understand that when such situations happen, right, do not confront the person immediately. The issue will only get escalated. Talk to that person later. And before you talk to that person, you need to manage your state. And how do you do that? Maybe go to the bathroom and move around. You know, I move my body. Whenever I want to get into the right state, I move my body. You know, I jump, move. Because you see, where there is movement, emotion is energy in motion. Okay? And when you move rigorously, that motion is a positive motion, and you start experiencing positive emotions. Right? Now, a good example of a negative energy in motion is where you slouch, your shoulders are down, your head's down, your tone is very low, and you're like this. Now, you have slowed down. Your motion is very slow. So it tends to get negative because you are also thinking about these sad things that have happened. So what you do, you take control of your body. You jump. Go take a walk for 10 minutes. Take a walk. Eat something healthy. Sleep well to manage your state. Because you see, before you confront the person, you need to be in the right state of mind and body. You got to be feeling confident. Assertive, to me, assertiveness is a sense of feeling. Okay, so you manage your state. That's number 2. So after you manage your state, the next thing that you do is ask what I don't want. Now that you are in, great shape, or you're feeling amazing because you have managed your state, you moved around, you moved your body, you have eaten something healthy, you're feeling good. You need to ask yourself, what I do not want. I don't want to be disrespected. Maybe you feel that you're being disrespected. So I do not want to be disrespected, or I do not want to be discouraged. Are you feeling discouraged when these things happen? So ask yourself, what do I do not want? Okay, I do not want to be discouraged. I do not want to be unheard. I do not want to be undervalued. I do not want to be unappreciated. Now, when you know what you don't want, then you can start moving towards what you want. Hence, this is important. Step 3, asking, what do I don't want? What do I do not want? Now that you're aware that you do not want to be disrespected, you do not want to be discouraged, the next step that you go to is, what do I want instead? Now you are aware as to what you do not want. Now you ask, what do you want instead? I want to be treated with respect. You see, you said, I do not want to be disrespected. Okay? When you do not want to be disrespected, what do you want instead? I want to be respected. I want to be heard. I want to know that my opinions matter. I want my contributions to be recognized. Being aware of what you want is important, because when you think of what you want, that is where your focus and your energy starts going. And when you know what you don't want, you will deliberately, pivot towards what you want. There is this deliberate shift that you make. That is why you need to know what you don't want and what exactly you want. And once you know what you want, the next step is, how would I know if I'm getting what I want? Because you see, I might say that I want to be respected, but how would I know? I want the person to listen. I would know when my boss is listening to me. I would know when my client is listening to me. I want the person to understand. I would know when my manager is understanding what I'm saying. I want the person, I want to the person, okay, delete this. I want the person to give me the time. I will know when my client has given me the time, that I'm being respected or I'm being acknowledged, right? And then I want the person to acknowledge my efforts. So you have this criteria inside your mind, and this is also critical because you see, you have instructed your mind what to look for. Okay, I'm looking for that acknowledgement. I'm looking for that respect. Okay? And this is how I would know that I'm getting it. So you have this criteria in place. And is this enough? No. You need to go to the next step to make sure you get what you want. And to do that, you will have to go and talk to this person. You will have to go and talk to this person in a certain manner. Not feeling frustrated, not feeling irritated, not going and complaining and whining and shouting at that person. Because this happens sometimes. You go to your manager and you start shouting. Don't you have any brains? I've put in so much effort. You're so insensitive. You don't tend to listen to people. Who made you the freaking manager? You see, that is not going to help. That is not how leaders speak. There is a way to put things across. Now, how do you put these things across? After following all these steps, the final step where you go and confront the person, there are certain things that you need to do. There are certain pieces that you need to follow. Step one is, you see, you need to seek permission. When you go there, you need to seek permission. Now, what is that? Before I let you know, you should also understand that you do not generalize things. Generalize is, nobody cares for me. You see, nobody. You always do that. Always is a generalization. Nobody is a generalization. So when you say that, you are not communicating effectively. So do not generalize. And do not use the you statement. You statement is where you say, why do you always do that? You made me feel frustrated. Do you even realize that? I felt frustrated because of you. You're always like this. You don't give me time. You always sideline me. Avoid that mistake. Do not use you statements. And don't assume. Stick to the facts. Don't assume as you're not going to go and say, you know what? You don't respect me, do you? Now you see, did that person ever tell you explicitly that, look, hey, I don't respect you? My guess is that did not happen. Now that the person did not say those words, if you go ahead and make a claim that the person does not respect you, that falls under assumption. And it's not going to work for you. You may feel that the person doesn't respect you. Don't verbalize it. That is not the way to communicate. So do not work on assumptions. Stick to the fact. Now, what is the fact? The person did not give you time. Your client did not give you time. You were not acknowledged. You were asked to keep quiet during the meeting. That is the fact. So stick to the fact. And after you stick to the fact, there is a way that you need to say things. I'm going to give you 3 examples, step by step. And after this session, I'm telling you, you will be super glad that you learned this, framework. Go and try it at your workplace and let me know what happened, right? So, you see, these are the things that you need to keep in mind. And after you have kept these things in mind, what you got to do is, first thing is you seek permission. You go and seek permission. Hey, can I talk to you for 2 minutes, please? That is seeking permission. And the person says yes. Then you acknowledge. Thank you. Permission, acknowledge. And use a neutral tone. Don't use sarcasm. Don't have that sadness in your tone, or do not have that frustrated or angry tone. Be neutral. Hey, listen, can I talk to you for 2 minutes, please? This is how you put it across. Can I talk to you for 2 minutes, please? He says, yes, tell me. Thank you. And then you say, what do you say? I'm going to teach that to you. Just hold on. So, seek permission, neutral tone, and use I statements. You got to use I statements. Now, what is that? I'm going to come to that. So you seek permission using a neutral tone. You use I statements, and after that, you make a request or suggest the next step or the next action. How do you do it? Example number 1. You see, the first thing is you go to that person in a neutral tone, you say, "Can I talk to you for a minute, please?" "Yes, thank you. I want you to know," you see, I statement, "I want you to know, I felt frustrated when my input during the meeting was interrupted multiple times." Now, usually what happens is, you made me feel frustrated because you did not let me finish. You interrupted me multiple times. Now, that is not the way to communicate, because you see, you need to start taking ownership of your emotion. Frustrated, who felt it? You felt it. So say, "I felt frustrated." Never say, "You made me feel frustrated." That is not the way to communicate. So I felt frustrated when my input during the meeting was interrupted multiple times. And then you suggest or make a request. The request is, moving forward, I would appreciate it if we could establish guidelines for respectful communication and consider implementing a speaking order. Right? So all you say is, "I felt frustrated when my input during the meeting was interrupted multiple times. Moving forward, I would appreciate it if we could establish guidelines for respectful communication and consider implementing a speaking order." Now, that is example 1. Example 2 is, you start, by taking permission. "Can I talk to you for a minute, please?" "Yes, thank you. Now, I want you to know, I felt discouraged when the team does not," okay, there's a mistake there. So I felt discouraged when the team doesn't acknowledge or recognize my efforts. Is that right? Yes, I think so. I felt discouraged when my team doesn't acknowledge or recognize my efforts. So you see, I felt discouraged. I felt discouraged recently, when the team did not recognize or acknowledge my efforts. And then you suggest, you express a request, you express a suggestion. To address this, I suggest setting up regular feedback sessions where accomplishments can be acknowledged and constructive criticism can be provided. Now you see, here you use the I statement followed by what you want instead, how you would want things to be. And this is not only benefiting you, it's benefiting everyone. It's positively affecting the ecosystem. Now, final example. "Can I talk to you for a minute, please?" "Thank you. I want you to know I felt disappointed that my request was dismissed. Can we allocate 20 minutes for my presentation? I believe it's important for the team client to be informed about the latest developments. Or I've put in 3 to 4 hours working on this presentation and I know it's going to bring value to the team and the client. So could we have 20 minutes, please?" So now you see, you have put a request across in a very neutral tone, right? You sought permission and then you use the I statement. That is how you make use of it. Now, please let me know how you would make use of this framework. Give me a few examples in the comment section. I would love to read them. And also make sure that you register. There is a link that will help you register on our website. And I'm launching a lot of new programs and we would love to keep you updated about them. So make sure you stay in touch, stay connected, and yes, get in touch with us for deeper transformations. I know I can help you. So take charge and I'll see you soon.
Workshop taken by Ahmed Muhammad is of very high order, and it's much useful to the personal development of each person.
This workshop isn't just about memory. Dr. Ahmed has made us laugh, cry, and a lot more. We've had a lot of fun. And more importantly than memory, he's brought me close to my mom again, which has not been like that in a long time.
मैं डॉक्टर अहमद का जो ये वर्कशॉप ज्वाइन किया है, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ। मेरे बच्चों में ग्रेट इम्प्रूवमेंट फील कर रही हूँ, और जो मैं कभी समझ नहीं पाई, सोच नहीं पाई, वो सोचने समझने की शक्ति और वो जो नया एक तरीका है या नई सोच उन्होंने हमारे अंदर डाली है, मैं उससे बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस हूँ।
So the main difference between the coaching classes and this is that the coaching classes teach you the material, but the MD sir over here teaches you how to learn the material. So I feel that learning how to learn the material is really very, very important to learn the material. So this program is worth it, and I have spent about 2.5-3 lakhs on coaching classes, but they are not up to the mark, and like a fraction of that amount is being paid to MD sir, and the results are 100 times better than what the coaching classes can give.
मैं सबको ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि इतनी पावरफुल क्लास है कि अगर ये नहीं किया तो जिंदगी का एक बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा मिस कर दिया। मैं बता रही हूँ कि प्लीज ज्वाइन करो, डोंट मिस दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी।